History remembers her as a seductress. Rome called her dangerous. Legends turned her into a myth. But Cleopatra VII was far more than beauty, romance, or scandal. She was a ruler who spoke 9 languages, a strategist who challenged Rome itself, and the last true pharaoh of Egypt. This is the real story of Cleopatra. Not the woman history judged, but the queen history feared. Cleopatra was born in 69 BC into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek royal family that ruled Egypt after the death of Alexander the Great. Although they ruled Egypt for nearly 300 years, the Ptolemies were outsiders, Greek in blood, culture, and language. Cleopatra would change that. She grew up in Alexandria, one of the greatest cities of the ancient world. It was a center of science, philosophy, and power. From a young age, Cleopatra was trained not just as a princess, but as a ruler. Unlike her ancestors, she learned the Egyptian language. She embraced Egyptian religion. She presented herself as the living goddess Isis. This was not vanity, it was strategy. Egypt was wealthy, powerful, and vital, but Rome was watching. At just 18 years old, Cleopatra became co-ruler of Egypt alongside her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. But power inside the Ptolemaic court was ruthless. Within months, Cleopatra was betrayed, removed from power, and forced into exile. Her brother's advisors believed she was too dangerous to keep alive. They underestimated her. Cleopatra did not disappear. She planned. She gathered support. She waited. And her opportunity came when Rome arrived in Egypt. In 48 BC, Julius Caesar entered Alexandria while pursuing his rival Pompey. Cleopatra saw her chance. Legend says she smuggled herself into Caesar's chambers, rolled inside a carpet, or possibly hidden in a linen sack. Whether myth or truth, one thing is certain. She impressed him, not just with beauty, but with intelligence, confidence, and political brilliance. Caesar restored Cleopatra to the throne and defeated her enemies. Together they ruled Egypt. Cleopatra bore Caesar a son, Caesarion, whom she claimed as his rightful heir. For a brief moment, it seemed Egypt and Rome might rule the world together. Then in 44 BC, Julius Caesar was assassinated. Cleopatra returned to Egypt, alone once more. Rome fractured into chaos, and one man rose to control the East, Mark Antony. Antony summoned Cleopatra to answer accusations of rebellion. She arrived in unmatched splendor, sailing on a golden barge, dressed as Isis, surrounded by incense and music. This was not seduction, this was power. Antony was captivated. Their alliance became legendary, not merely lovers, but political partners. Cleopatra funded Antony's campaigns. Antony granted her territory. Their children were named rulers of lands Rome claimed as its own. Together, they envisioned an empire that could rival Rome itself. Rome did not forgive this. One man used Rome's anger to his advantage. Octavian, Julius Caesar's adopted son. Octavian did not declare war on Mark Antony. He declared war on Cleopatra. Not because she marched legions on Rome, not because Egypt attacked the Republic, but because Rome could not accept being challenged by a foreign queen. Rome understood something dangerous. Mark Antony could be defeated. Cleopatra could not be easily controlled. So they rewrote the narrative. Cleopatra was not portrayed as a ruler. She was portrayed as a witch, a seductress, a manipulator who used beauty instead of strategy, a corrupter of Roman men. Rome did what empires always do when threatened. They turned power into scandal. But Cleopatra was never just a lover in the shadows of great men. She was a queen in her own right. Born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, she inherited a fragile throne at just 18. Egypt was rich, but surrounded by predators. Rome was expanding, consuming kingdoms piece by piece. Client kings bowed, independent rulers vanished. Cleopatra chose another path. She learned languages, speaking at least 9 fluently. Unlike her ancestors, she spoke Egyptian, earning the loyalty of her people. And when Rome arrived at her gates, she did not hide. She negotiated. Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, knew he could not attack Antony directly without risking civil war backlash. Cleopatra became the enemy of the state. In 31 BC, everything came to a head at the Battle of Actium. a naval clash that would decide the fate of the ancient world. Octavian's forces outmaneuvered Antony's fleet. Chaos followed. Antony and Cleopatra broke through the blockade and fled, not in cowardice, but in survival. They returned to Egypt knowing the truth. The war was lost. As Octavian marched toward Alexandria, betrayal spread like poison. Allies defected. Soldiers surrendered. The world Cleopatra had fought to preserve was collapsing. Then came the final tragedy. Mark Antony, believing Cleopatra was dead, fell on his sword. But even in death, he did not escape Rome's cruelty. He lingered long enough to be carried to Cleopatra, dying in her arms. Cleopatra was captured alive. Octavian planned to parade her through Rome, a living trophy, a warning to every ruler who dared to resist empire. But Cleopatra refused. She had ruled for 21 years. She had defied Rome longer than anyone thought possible, and she would not let her final image be chains and humiliation. According to legend, she allowed a poisonous asp to bite her, a method she had studied carefully, testing toxins on condemned prisoners. But one fact is certain: Cleopatra chose her own end. In 30 BC, Egypt fell to Rome. Its treasures were seized, its temples repurposed, its independence erased. Cleopatra died as the last pharaoh of Egypt. Rome won the war, but it did not stop there. History tried to reduce Cleopatra to a scandal, a woman defined by romance rather than rule, by desire rather than intellect, by beauty rather than power. Because acknowledging Cleopatra's true legacy would mean admitting something dangerous: that a woman ruled wisely, strategically, and effectively in a world dominated by men. That she stood against the greatest empire in history and nearly won. Cleopatra negotiated with Rome's greatest leaders as an equal. She stabilized Egypt's economy. She protected its borders. She was not destroyed by love. She was not destroyed by vanity. She was destroyed because she dared to stand against Rome. But legends do not disappear. They survive in whispers. She was never just a queen beside great men. She was a ruler who understood power and paid the ultimate price for wielding it. If Cleopatra lived today, would history still call her dangerous? Or would it finally call her what she truly was? A queen. Like, subscribe and comment below. Was Cleopatra a manipulator or one of the greatest rulers in history?